All right, JHK here for the AllStar, and joining me right now is UFC strawweight Mallory Martin. Mallory, it's been a while. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good. Yeah, like I said, it's been a while, around 10 months between fights. What kept you out so long?
So I did have an injury on my elbow. I partially tore almost all the ligaments and muscles in my elbow. I didn't tear anything, so I didn't have to have like surgery or anything, but I did have to wear like I don't know, like an elbow brace, and I couldn't bend it. I don't really have the full range of motion back still. Like I can't touch my shoulder. But other than that, like everything's good. It feels fine. But I had to take 3 months off of training and just let that heal and recover.
Did that happen in the last fight?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Unfortunately,
Was there a certain point where you remember like your elbow just not being the same anymore?
um, I know that I got put into a spot, and I know that like I couldn't because I was against the cage as well. So the escape that I could have gotten out with, the cage was blocking me off from rolling out of the armbar. And then also she had her like foot on the cage that was also blocking me. So once I got to that spot, I knew like that there was like nothing that I could really do. Like, and of course, like I didn't even care. Like I let my arm almost break. I thought after the fight, when I did go to the hospital, they told me in Vegas that I had like a hairline fracture. But then when I flew back to Colorado and I seen the doctor, they just said like there was no broken bones or anything like that. But yeah, I definitely knew like once I got to that like extended and I tried to do the hitchhiker escape, the wall or the cage was in the way, so there was like nothing that I could do. So that it was a bummer, but a good learning experience, and I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah, definitely a learning experience. I learned something right there when you explained it to me. Now I'm gonna look for that. And
Yeah.
3 months in a cast, it limits a lot. What did you do to just keep yourself, active and your mind in the game?
Yeah, well, I didn't take like I wouldn't say I like 3 months off, but I still did lifting. I still worked with my strength and conditioning coach Aaron Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I've been consistent with him for 9 months, and I put on a lot of muscle mass, and yeah, it's been like maybe that's what I needed. Like I needed to take that time off and just focus on getting bigger and stronger, and I feel it in my training, and yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And I heard also if you have more muscle, like when you do cut weight, it's a lot easier. Is that true?
Yeah. Um, I'm not really sure. Like I have heard that as well, but I also like I was talking to Drew Dober about his weight cuts this morning, and like he's just like jacked, like muscle, like he's like a little like tank, and he still cuts like 15 pounds uh the day before weigh-ins. And like that's hard. That would be hard for me, but I guess he does it pretty easily. So maybe you're right. Yeah, maybe like because he's bigger and his muscles hold more water, it's like easier for him to like just flush out. But yeah, he does that. I'm like, that sucks.
That does suck.
Yeah,
But like we don't know yet. The science for weight cutting is still not, fully
yeah. We don't
developed.
know. Yeah, we don't even know like the side effects of it. You know, my one of my teammates, Shauna Dotson, she's like having troubles with her thyroid and whatnot, and her doctor's like it's from you cutting weight. Like maybe you cut weight the wrong way, or you just messed up your body a little bit, and so she's like having a little bit of complications with that from cutting weight. So like we don't even know what like cutting weight affects your body either. In
Exactly, in the long run. So I
the
guess
long run.
as you go, the more science that comes out, you have to like adjust yourself to that, and then you gotta look at longevity, of course.
Yeah.
Now, you return December 4th against
Mhm.
Ruiz. She's 1-1 in the UFC. What are your thoughts on her and what she brings to the matchup?
I don't want to say like she's a one trick pony, but if she doesn't get the headlock throw, uh, I'm winning the fight. And even if she does get it, I'm getting out and I'm gonna get on top of her and it's going to put me in a good spot where I'm on her back or I'm in half guard or side control. So I feel like it's a good matchup for me and, you know, for her as well. But I don't see this fight going in her favor at all.
Yeah, that headlock throw. Why is it so prevalent in women's MMA, but in men's MMA you never see it?
Yeah, because I think body types is a huge thing, and it just exposes your back so much, and it's kind of like I don't know, you have to be really good at it, you know, for it to work, and I think she is good at it, but if that's all that she does, I'm gonna be able to shut it down. And like I've had 3 months to train for this, you know, like not 3 months, but uh, I don't know, like what, 12, 14 weeks to train for it, you know? So like I'm going to be well prepared, well trained to defend that. And that's the only thing that she really does, you know? She doesn't really strike much. She doesn't really kick much, you know? She barges in and or lets you crash in and goes for it. And it I don't like it, you know? Like we drilled it for a while and I was just like, man, this really exposes your back, and like if you don't get it, like you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, it is a dangerous position, right? If you don't
Yeah.
do it right, or the person that you're doing it on knows what they're doing, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you could be in some big trouble. Now, with your camp, 12, 14 weeks, is that the longest training camp you've ever had?
No. So I didn't really technically start camp until 8 weeks. But like I knew that we had this opponent for yeah, like 14 to 12 weeks. But I didn't start like camp, like dialing in on camp till 8 weeks. So I've been in camp for about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and then I have like 3 weeks left and then fight week.
So you mentioned working with your strength and conditioning coach. Anything else new that you added, or something that you have improved upon tremendously?
I think listening to my coaches, you know, like I didn't realize that I kind of just go out there and I just do my thing, and uh you know, I talked to my coaches and they're like, listen to us, you know, like we're here for a reason. And so I've been having more trust and into them and listening to what they're saying and sparring and whatnot and just doing it. And so that's been like super helpful to me. And uh yeah, just taking my time off, like taking this time off has really helped me improve. And I've just came, like, I cannot wait to show everybody or just show myself that I have improved so much, because I am not the same fighter that I was a year ago. I'm not even the same fighter that I was the last time I was in the cage. Like, there's no footage on this Mallory Martin. So I'm excited to go out there and perform and show all this improvement and growth that I've made, because it's a lot.
In the fight, right? That you got lost in the fight sometimes, and you kind of shut everything out and you just focused on that, and now you could go in there, hear your coaches, and kind of use that to adjust.
I want to say like I didn't listen to my coaches, but like uh yeah, I wouldn't say I didn't trust them either, but I would just do what I thought at the moment was best at sometimes, where they would be like, "Nah, you should have done that," you know, and I'm like, "Ah, you're right, I should have done that." Like, dang, I should have listened to you, you know? And so it's just been like more of having that trust in them and just, you know, doing what they tell me to do, like with the stand up on the ground, whatnot.
I also see that you had training camp simultaneously with Rose, and she just recently
Mhm.
successfully defended her title. How was
Yeah.
that?
Oh, that was awesome. She grappled with us and came in for sparring, and to be able to share the cage with Rose and somebody at that level, like she's a champion in my weight division. Um, for me to just share the cage with her in a training session is huge, because I'm also improving and I'm also pushing her. So like that's just, I don't know, it's something that
Confidence building.
like, yeah, confidence building, but it's also just like being able, like, not a lot of people get to share the
Yeah.
cage with their champion, you know, like I get to go in there and like test myself against her and also like try to push her, you know, because she is a champ. She needs somebody that is going to come in and try to like challenge her. And so I feel like I always rise to the occasion. when I'm going with her.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you see yourself bouncing back against Ruiz? You know, hashtag no one can save you.
Yeah, I feel like I'm back to the no one can save you, Mallory Martin. So I'm like really excited. Like, I don't want to like say I'm gonna say anything to her, but like I'm back to that Mallory Martin, that ground and pound, that gritty fighter. You know, I'm just ready to go out there and make a war.
Now, you know, in combat sports, you know, there's a lot of things involved and a lot of adversity, right? And I was wondering, does PTSD from like injuries or losses or like crazy wars, does it exist amongst fighters?
Huh, that's a good question. You know, I don't know. Like, I know when I got injured for my last fight and when I did come back to training and I got put into that position in like live training, you know, I was like my heart rate went up and I was just like, oh crap, you know, like went back there. But like once you overcome that, like it's all mental too. Like that, all that stuff is mental, and if you're able to overcome that mentally, then you'll never think about it again. And I think the same with like wars. My first fight with Invicta was like a really good war with my opponent Sana, and I look back on that and know that I'm able to do that. Like I have that in my back pocket. Like I can dig deep, you know. So I don't think there's like PTSD or anything, but like being able to overcome those is important because you could let it crush you and just be like terrified to get back to put into armbar and freeze, and then now you're tapping again, you know. So it's like you have to overcome that in training, like putting yourself into that position and overcoming it rather than just like avoiding it.
Wow, that's the answers that I get from fighters are incredible for that question. You know, you just gave me
Yeah.
a totally different perspective of like anybody has said.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I had ACL surgery, like I know people were like, "Oh, it's gonna be hard for you to come back from that," or this and that. Like, people don't come back, or like whatever. People would talk about that, and for me, like because people were talking and bringing that up, I made it at a point to that every time I stepped on the mat, I didn't think I never had surgery. My knee's good. I'm healthy. I'm 100%. Like that's the mindset I had. I never once thought about my knee coming back from surgery. Not once in training. I just blocked it out and I was like, yeah, I'm good. You know, like my knee's fine, you know? So I think it's like, it's very much all mental.
Definitely. And one last question. This is an open-ended question. You could answer any way you want. Outside of MMA, what keeps you up at night?
Ooh, that's a good question. With the fire, what keeps me up at night? I guess like sometimes I think about like helping my family, you know, like helping my sisters and helping my nieces and my nephews and like just being a good role model for them and like I want to give back to my family, you know? So I think that keeps me up and I always think about like helping my sisters out because you know, like my middle sister practically raised me, you know. My mom wasn't there throughout my teenage years, and so like she's 2 years older than me and she practically raised me, you know. And so I want to like give back to her, and that like kind of I guess that would keep me up at night sometimes. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Everybody's going to be up at night on December 4th to watch you fight. Thank you, Mallory,
Yeah.
so much for the time. And
Yeah.
I really enjoyed our chats. I really enjoy our chats, and hopefully we do many
Yeah.
more.
Thank you.